France against England? Should we go there? Should we go there? Nigel reo-coker, should we go there? Let's go there. All right, France, looking forward to this one. Obviously, Mbappe's form is grabbing a lot of headlines, stealing the headlines right now with his goal scoring. I didn't think he was great up until the fact he scored a goal in the last round. But this is a France side that is very dynamic. They have a lot of players playing well in midfield, out in the wings, defensively, solid, good goalkeeper as well, who's making some very, very big saves for them. How do England beat this France side, Nigel? How do you get past them and go into the semifinals?
I'll let James go first.
Okay.
I don't know. I suppose there's two ways of looking at it, aren't there? Can I do the defensive stuff first?
Anything you want, James.
I've spent a lot of today watching clips of Kyle Walker defending Kylian Mbappe. And in that regard alone, I think there is cause for a little bit of confidence. I mean, Gary Neville said it. I think James Maddison said it as well. If you need a defender to defend Mbappe, it's Kyle Walker. He looks like he's just about up to speed after that injury. And, you know, he has had a go at defending Mbappe on 3 or 4 occasions before. And, you know, from the clips I've watched, he knows what to do. Show him down the line. You know, when you're doing that against PSG, it's less of a risky strategy because if Mbappe gets to the byline and Giroud's there at the near post, that's not ideal. But Walker has experience. He knows what he's doing. I think Mbappe himself said it was tough playing against Kyle Walker. He's got the pace. I mean, you could shut down Mbappe and still lose to France because Griezmann has been wonderful, great set piece delivery and really dominant as a number 10. Dembele looks in great form. Giroud, we know, can pluck something out of nothing. But I think defensively, you start with, how do I stop Mbappe? Then in attack, I mean, you've got the weapons and you've got a good midfield, a midfield that can control games. And I think would have the better of that French too. As much as Rabiot has proved me wrong and as excellent as Tchouaméni has been, I think if you can just do what you can to slow the French attack, you've got a good chance. It's going to be tough though.
Question for you, James. Do you start Henderson?
Yeah, I think you do. I think if nothing else, if he's on that right side of the midfield three, it's going to be a little bit different to how he would do it with an Alexander-Arnold. But he knows what he's doing, like dropping into those areas to offer a bit more protection. And I wouldn't go back 3, at least not from the start. I think Walker's good enough that you can trust him. I don't know what do you think? What would you do?
Go on, Mike. I'll go after Mike.
No. I see this game's going to come to, I say no back 3. I say keep a back 4. This is going to come down to 2 things. I think in midfield, if you're going to play Jordan Henderson can cover so much ground. Yes, he got his goal and congratulations to him. We were all scratching our head thinking, what the hell is he doing in the game? This isn't a game for him. And we were proven wrong in an instant. So always kudos to the players when they react and prove everyone wrong. But this is a game where Jordan Henderson is going to have to do what he does for Liverpool in tight games, which is screen. Help Declan Rice if he's going to be fit. And just coming to you, James, and I don't know if Nigel, you have any word on this. Is Rice healthy? Because I saw news of a potential illness.
We don't know.
Sounds like he'll be okay. Bit of illness.
Yeah, sounds like he'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, go on, Edge.
I was just going to say, I was just going to say, for me, like, I understand what James. My worry is this: England's defense. I understand Kyle Walker's great defending against Mbappe. That was when the fit Kyle Walker was playing. He's only played 1 game. It's the World Cup. We are still vulnerable defensively. That's my problem. I think he could do well against 45, 50, 60 minutes. This is a fully fit Mbappe going at him. I feel that also, we talk about Mbappe going against Kyle Walker, but what about simple managerial tactics? Put him on the other side. What's England going to do? They're going to move Kyle Walker onto the other side now?
Just Dembele against Shaw.
That's what I'm saying. You just have to swap Mbappe's side from Kyle Walker. What are they going to do? Mbappe can play either side comfortably well and be a problem and a danger. That's just simple tactics. You can just say, all right, cool. We'll put him on the other side. What are they going to do? If they move Kyle Walker to the other side, that's going to be uncomfortable. If Mbappe comes in, there's so much that they can do. Like Michael said, I understand about, I always say this is my belief. I don't want to ever hear people talking about working hard, covering ground. That's the basic foundation that's needed for the modern day footballer. I think this game is going to go to the quality aspect. And like James said, we're seeing a very rejuvenated Griezmann now. And that's a scary thing. If they can get him the ball with how rejuvenated he is, that's another problem for England. And the final thing I want to make is we haven't been great defending set pieces. The French are dangerous on set pieces with the targets that they've got. That's going to be another worry for me, for England. And I think like what we talked about just the last game, how some of these countries have the luxury to rotate, starting threes and this and that. We're heavily too reliant on having to play Harry Kane. We haven't done that. So I think that you're going to see a bit of tiredness from these England players, while the French, I feel, are going to have a better energy. And as James knows, the French hate the English. We've been around a lot of French people. They despise the English.
The English hate the French.
Everyone hates
Yeah,
it.
And the English hate the French too.
Everyone hates
The French feel that the English James probably could add to this quickly before my the French boys I've played with and had dressing rooms with, they believe that the English are super arrogant and they can't stand the British press for how they write up.
Nigel, what do the English think about the French, though? You tell us what do the English think about the French.
On honesty, the English don't really pay too much attention about French football players like that. No, they don't. They don't. I'm telling you. They don't. I mean, the English press do not criticize the French football players. They criticize French culture and French people more.
Didn't they call it the Farmers League?
But that's the point. Is that they don't.
That's the worst criticism you can take.
They don't think about French football. You know, obviously it's the joke, isn't it? Is that when Germany play England, the Germans go, "Wait, you hate us? We don't care about you." When France play England, the English go, "Wait, you hate us? We don't really care that much about you." They're not the great right. Of course, you have Scotland as well, and France doesn't quite have that. But even then, I think European-wise, if you said to English football fans, and there are very, let's not go deep into why this is the case, go deep into this hole. But if you said you can beat one continental European team to win a World Cup, who do you want to beat? The vast majority of England fans would want to beat Germany, not France. Yeah. So I think there's more of a thing that the French have, especially because they've exported so many of their players to England than the English have over the French.
Coaches.
I'll even it out. The USMNT, we hate all of you. We hate all of you out of jealousy.
With no idea.
So we'll keep it at that. I think this game in the midfield, and I always go to the midfield as former midfielders, Nigel, you and I were, but I always go to the midfield for this England team, a player who has been a star at this World Cup, a player who has the individual ability because he can play anywhere in midfield, Jude Bellingham. If he can get at Tchouaméni, his ability to ride tackles, his ability to be effective in transition, his ability, you saw it in the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund, you see it in the Champions League, and we get to watch him on Paramount Plus as well, but you see it when he plays. He is growing in his ability to take a game by the scruff of the neck. If he can ride one tackle, all it takes is one tackle on the counterattack. You saw it in the last game, his ability to make the right decision in the final third. I think that is the X factor for this England national team, this English attack. And out wide on the right-hand side, that is where the game is going to be made. In transition, how is Bukayo Saka going to come back and help? Bukayo Saka, Jordan Henderson, and Kyle Walker, they're going to have to stay so interconnected defensively as well as offensively. Kyle Walker, your job is simple. Do not go bombing forward with overlapping runs because you are setting it up on a plate for Kylian Mbappe to eat and feast like he's never been never have before. For Bukayo Saka, his play out wide when Theo Hernandez makes an underlapping run, that is where he will have his opportunity. The window of opportunity, the gap will be there. Now, will he finish like he's been finishing in the last couple of games?
I think the midfield battle you mentioned is obviously interesting because we're looking at some youngsters really outshining right now in this World Cup. Jude Bellingham doing incredibly well, and obviously Tchouaméni, we followed him so closely through the Champions League stuff. It's been phenomenal to watch his performances in this World Cup. But there's been some unlikely stars step up for this France side that I was really surprised with. Rabiot is playing really well right now. I am a big critic of Rabiot. I have never fancied Rabiot, even when he's made these big money moves and everyone's talking about him moving to the Premier League for some giant clubs, and I'm thinking, why? I don't know why or what they see in this player. But in this World Cup, with these types of performances, it has been really wonderful to watch him play the way he has been playing. Griezmann, you guys have talked about it. I mean, look at what's happening with a lot of these Atleti players. They are playing freer than they have ever played before, and they are enjoying their football, and that is a scary thing. Having a happy and confident Antoine Griezmann is very scary for England. Now, what I do think for England is that they will score a goal. I don't think France can stop England from scoring. England are just too dangerous. They're too dynamic. They need to be at their best. We obviously recognize that for them to get past France. But it's not unrealistic for England to put 2 or 3 goals past this France side. I really believe that Lloris has held France in this competition without conceding more goals. His individual performances have been sensational, all the way, including that game against Australia in the last minute where he made that wonderful save off the kid. I mean, it's just incredible to see, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here now for France. I'm excited to see if they can get past England, if they can go on and reach the final. It'll be a lot of fun. One last point from Nigel before we get our predictions. Go.
My thing quickly, Ian, is one, I'm worried about England's fitness because of the players that have been picked and who haven't played enough consecutive games. It does catch up to you. You guys talked about the midfield battle. Remember, France have the ability to bring on young Fofana, who's come on and done well. And he's another young French phenomenal talent that can come in there in that midfield and do fantastically well. England don't really have that luxury yet. Phillips, not fully fit. Yeah, but not fully fit, James. We haven't even seen him play in the Premier League, so it's a risk again. Like I said, I think there's so many things that happen in this game that's going to be such a firecracker. But I just feel that fatigue and uncertainty on players' levels of fitness is going to play a part in England's downfall.
Well, James, you made a great point there that there has been some rest for these players going into this game as well. There's been a considerable amount of days in between playing the last game and playing this game. And as there has been so many games, obviously saying a lot of shite right there when I mentioned about the young kid from Australia getting his opportunity against Lloris. It wasn't him. It was obviously Poland against them. But at the same time, I want to get your predictions because a lot of people out there are jumping in right now believing that France are going to wipe the floor. England can't even beat the US men's national team, says Rafa. You just shout France. They cannot even beat Tunisia, says Neme. And then we've got England will win, of course. Stones will stop Mbappe. There are some comments coming in from a lot of people, including Rafa, who says that England being too arrogant to pay attention to France tells you everything you need to know about England. A lot of people criticizing, including Rafa, who says France 3, England 0. What says you, Nigel reo-coker?
I think it's going to be a tight game, but I just honestly feel that the French have too much for us right now, where we're at and in what they can do. I would say it's going to end up 3-1 France.
Mike?
And Nigel, you read my mind. I think 3-1. I think because France, with Mbappe, with Giroud, when they get one, they get two. And they score very quickly. It's like a team that keeps you in. They're competitive. And once that first goal goes in, there's a belief, there's a hunger about this French team that I don't think England can match. I do think England do get that goal.
James?
I think England are a little bit more dynamic than we could give them credit for. And they are a better defensive team, I think, than Nigel has given them credit for. Although I understand, but we have seen this England team can keep it tight. I absolutely, the guys are not wrong to pick France. I could pick France. However, if it's going down to a coin flip, sometimes you may as well just do what you want. So I'm going to say England win 2-1.
I think that, it's a fair point. And I think that this could be a very close game. I think we see goals in this game. Hopefully we see goals in this game. I can see it being a 90-minute draw, maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2. And then you go to extra time and we get a winner. Let's hope we get a winner. I don't want to see England in penalty kicks at all. But I would say that I'm favoring France going through at the end of the day. I'm not sure what my scoreline would be, but I'm fancying a score draw after 90 minutes.